So come to a nice tall seat and let yourself get very comfortable within your body. So feel what is underneath your sits bones, your hips. If you require any props or tools to help make your posture feel more comfortable, then please make the arrangements to do so that we can sit for just a couple of minutes here. Now, I'm sure you've heard the recent events with the incidents of the residential schools in Kamloops. So my school today had quite a solemn day as we brought awareness to our children, our students, and community, and took a few moments just to acknowledge and honor the people that were quite well affected. So I thought we could begin our class with just a little bit of silence. And whatever you feel, whatever that might bubble up or surface, you're going to feel, and I want you just to let it. So as you're seated here, begin by taking a deep breath through your nose, letting it fill your body anywhere and all naturally. And then the very softest of exhalations. Just acknowledging now that you are human in form, breathing the very essence of life in the being of your body. Together online in our yoga community, may we take this moment to honor, to shed light, and encourage healing in the parts of the world that we know need our energy today. Notice your inward breath and how it's coming into your body, quick or slow in pace, where it might be reaching the edges of the belly or your lungs. Bring awareness to the leaving of your breath as it escapes your body from these two organs. Paying attention still to the flow of your breath, where things come and go, where people arrive and then they leave in our lives. As we slide in our hands and palms together, letting the right and left side of the body meet true at center in front of your heart. You might take a moment to dedicate this practice to a certain person, a few people, and somebody that may require healing energy today, and that absolutely could mean yourself. Let's take a deep inward breath together through the nose, and a nice washing exhalation out your mouth. Gently flutter your eyes to open, lift your shoulders up toward your ears, and then gently soften them down. Keep your hands against your thighs or your knees and begin to turn very naturally side to side, rotating through the upper spine. Today our class intention surrounds healing. And whether that may be for yourself or somebody else, there's a part of healing in the body that can be very physical, so paying attention to how and what poses you're in that might spark up certain sensations, allowing you to more deeply connect Drawing in the intention of healing doesn't mean that we demand it from our body, but that we can simply use our body as a tool and a way of listening in a little deeper. So perhaps you're healing today and the intention of it is around healing your heart or your soul. And that requires us to go inward. After one more twist onto this side, take a moment and come into child's pose. Let the knees go really wide so you offer some space in the inner hips and the thighs to begin. If your arches and your toes feel a little snug today, do a tuck and untuck. Try to stretch out the soles of the feet a couple times, and then let yourself settle in a more grounded way. So grounded doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're very still in your body, but that you can call upon your breath in a way that is very flowing, that becomes more balanced with each and every cycle of breath that you take in. Notice the placement of your forehead against the ground and the earth, using it to simply support the upper cavity of the skull in your mind, the tissue of your very hard-working brain, and then just asking upon the earth and its properties to let that energy rest now. Notice maybe what you were feeling, or maybe some of the thoughts and reflections that surfaced during that moment of silence and the opening of your practice. Maybe refining your intention, clarifying it for you, so that you can start to make meaning on your mat. We'll use some movements to flesh and flow. Again, the inward breath and the outward breath, creating balance. So come on forward onto your knees and onto your hands in a low plank. Notice that the shoulders are standing right over the hands and the wrists, and exhale just a halfway supported chaturanga, the knees staying to the floor. Inhale, float your way back up, and then exhale, rest through child's pose. Let the forehead meet the mat, and exhale all the way out the breath. And then upon your next inhalation, so you're going to dictate the movement according to your breath cycle, coming forward back into that low plank, exhaling halfway. For support of the shoulders and the chest, ensure that they stay back, drawn away from the ears. Exhale, floating back. You're going to see if you can slow down your motion and let your breath follow. And then you might play with it a couple times in the opposite direction, where you let the breath direct the motion of your body, in order to allow the two to start to meet together in a more harmonious way. Body and breath, soul, mind, or spirit, however you define that to be. When and if you need to take more breath and rest, you can always come into child's pose a little longer. It's the ebb and flow and the wave of life. Things will surface, and then they disappear again. And there's a lot of coming and going. Rest in child's pose on the next one, and stay there for a moment and notice any changes or differences from the last child's pose that you just took. In your practice, when you're conscious, when you're aware, you're not trying to make things happen, not in a forceful way, but you're really taking the seat of the observer, witnessing all and everything that is around you in sound, in sight, with senses, and starting to delve deeper at this connection that is within you. Do you do life outwardly? Or can you find a way to scope that attention inwardly? Here is a part of our intention to heal. Let's come up onto your hands and your knees. Take the knees out nice and wide. And take a quadricep stretch your supported hands in behind you. Be mindful that the shoulders aren't coming forward, and try to draw them back. Gently lift the heart. And then do press into your hands. Lift the hips right off the heels. Do a very gentle tuck underneath of the tailbone, as though you could point it more forward to where the knees are at the front of your mat. Just take a few breaths here. Let's allow our drishti, so the gaze of our eyes and our focus, to be across the tip of your nose, keeping the eyes open, and then gently toward the floor, nice and low. Bringing our attention to a very small, still spot to reinforce the grounding. Last deep breath in here. Exhale, washing sigh out your mouth. Gently come onto hands and knees. And you can either stay on all fours, a few cycles cat-cow, or you can rise on up to downward dog. But either position, start moving through the spine, flexing and rounding. So if you're in downward dog, you're going to lift the shoulders up toward the ears, kind of do a rounded like nature, bending the knees, coming high on the tippy toes, and then exhale, pressing back to extension in downward dog. I'm going to exaggerate my downward dog by really lifting the tail, just to find that extension in the back body. But certainly in a traditional downward dog, we keep the spine neutral. If you're on all fours, a few cycles cat and cow there. So you're a little bit more directive and independent in this flow here, calling upon what is necessary and needed for your physical body, for your practice, and for the way that's going to allow you to heal best. What is it that you are intending to heal? Is it physical in your body? Is it our mind getting wondrous? Is it the heart, the inner core, the spirit? And how can we really utilize this practice to help you to heal? Please find your way in forward fold in about 3 breaths, no rush. So really pacing it out as you move toward that next position. Everything is a process. And this process that you're on in life is your journey. Take a moment to just stop and let yourself heal through your breathing and your attention. Inhale, rise, halfway lift, lengthening the back. Exhale, bow to fold, bend your knees, wrap your arms around the backs of your legs. Let your fingertips come close toward the heels, bow belly to thighs, chin into chest, and let your head dangle. Let's give gestures of yes and no, really allowing length to the neck, ensuring there's no strain, nor the neck muscles are being used here. Nice and bobby and flowy with the head. Use its weight and gravity to just let it dangle. Place the hands against the shins and rise, halfway lift. Exhale, bow forward, fold, knees bent, ragdoll to stand. Nice and slowly piecing the spine, one vertebra over the next. You'll stand nice and tall, bend the knees, widen the toes, and then reach up, big inhale toward the sky. Exhale, hands and palms float down together, center chest. We're going to do 3 more scooping breaths here. Bend the knees, really exaggerate that press down with your leg strength. Rise up through your arms lifting, and then exhale, the hands come in. 2 more here. Bend the knees, reach nice and wide, heart to fingertips, all 10. Exhale, hands come to center. Place the intention and the focus of your mind. 1 more time with the intent. Inhale. Exhale, stay standing. Hands and palms to center chest. Place the weight into your right foot. We'll shake things up right away with a little bounce, and post the left foot in for tree. We'll be maneuvering and transferring our weight, so stay onto the right hand side. That's it. Take a deep breath in, raise your energy, lift the vibration of your arms and your breath upward to raise that energy from within you. Deep inhale. Exhale, hands and palms come back together. Place them on your waistline, turn your left knee to point to the front of your mat, and gently start kicking the left leg back behind you. As your chest and your heart tip forward, square through the pelvis by letting the top of the left hip point down. Bend your right knee a little more, and then touch down with your left toes, feel the landing of the foot, and then place the heel down nice and flat. We'll start opening up the front line of our hip for warrior 1. Inhale, arms up toward the sky. Good, and if you can just let your shoulders and your traps relax down. Make it easier, a little less work, but still focusing the attention through your breath in your body, and maybe even directing it to the areas if you're intending on physically healing certain spots. Take a deep inhale here. We're going to pray our hands and palms together. Lift your left back heel off the mat so you're coming a little bit more forward, and then lean down and in with the heart and chest. Let's take a breath in here together. Really open up the lungs. Inhale. And then as you exhale, belly folds in and your left elbow is going to hook to the outside of your right thigh. If you feel better with the left knee coming down for more support, then absolutely you can lower to the floor. Nice long stance between right heel and left back toes. Deep breath in, belly comes in. Exhale for the rotation, opening up the heart to your right hand side. Let's inhale and slowly untwist, fingertips to the floor. Do place the left knee down for this one, and we'll take a little journey and start to walk back. So the weight is on the left knee. If you need padding or a cushion, place it underneath. Flex the right toes up, point them back to your heart and chest, and elongate the spine. Stretch your sternum to your right big toe. Take a deep breath in. Feel the power of the stretch, and then as you exhale, soften to the essence of it. Inhale, ignite through the legs, engaging, feeling that power, and then exhale, soften into it. Slowly coming forward, let's transition back onto hands and palms. Step the right leg back, down dog. Now if you like, you can move through vinyasa, full cycle. If you prefer, you can do a few cycles of cat and cow on your hands and knees. Really inhaling, feeling the flow of breath inward. Exhaling all the breath outward. Full potential of breath flows in, and then exhaling back to soften. Let's all meet in downward dog for a moment. Pause, take a few breaths. Bring your big toes together to touch, fanning them out nice and wide. Take a heaping bend into the knees, look forward. See the space between your hands and palms, and bring your feet a little closer toward their area. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, seated chair. So dropping the hips back nice and low, gazing down at your own feet and seeing the toes peer in front of the knees. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, bow, forward fold. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold on down and in, wrap the arms around the backs of the legs. And this time, you might be able to let the fingertips touch the heels. You might even slide the fingers underneath the heels and gently step up upon the hands. Folding with the heart inward, softening the chin toward the chest, and letting the head flow downward. Just as your body is inviting, accepting, and opening to this experience and energy, it is just as so that healing takes time. Here you are folding, standing, and breathing in time. Every moment is yours to take. Every moment is yours if you wish to focus it. So call back the intention. Breathe it in your body. Keep the breath moving as you release the posture with the hands forward. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold in. We're coming up for our 3 cleansing breaths in standing. So really press down through your heels and toes. Rise on up as you reach and look high. Exhale, hands and palms float together, center chest. That's 1. For 2. Exhale all the way through. And you can take the breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, or solely through the nasal passage. Whichever feels right, feels better for you. Hold hands together, center chest. I'd like you to pause and take a moment here for yourself. Slowly begin to transfer the weight into your left foot. Post your right leg in for tree. So before we maneuver to the expression of arms up, bring the attention to the left heel and the left toes and really spread them wide. Get nice and grippy toward the earth with the sole of the foot, and then stand strong. Extend through the leg, but without hyperextending the knee. And then start to fuel the body. Take a deep breath in through the belly, through the lungs, and from the center of the body, then slowly extend as you physically reach up. Nice. You're going to find one spot somewhere in the room or the space where you are, and start to scope your gaze, your focus, and drishti toward that one spot. Might even be as small as a tiny grain of sand. And for that spot that you've chosen to still physically see, then begin to close your eyes and see if you can still see that spot. Let the body waver, but allow your breath to be constant. And then open your eyes. Slowly bring your hands and palms to meet center, knowing that everything is safe, that you are okay. Turn the right knee gently to point the front, hands on hips. Nice transition. Kick back through your right toes, elongate that leg. Nice long reach back to help the distance of your feet in the space. Draw the right hip down to point to the floor, land the right toes, and then keep placing weight all the way to the heel. So if the heel isn't touching the floor at the back, then bring the foot in a little closer. Good, nice swift inward breath, reaching the arms up with lots of energy. Good, so what are the fingertips doing in your body? Is there an action of expression or feeling there that you demonstrate within? Not to show and to perform, but that feeling comes from within the body. So we don't do outwardly in that performance way. We do inwardly. What do I feel from my body that I want to express out? That's it, really good. One last and final breath in this position. Slowly exhale, hands together, heart center. So in order to come forward, I come off my heel, but if you feel more comfortable with the heel down, that's okay too. Let's lean down and forward with our chest. Take a deep breath in to prepare our twist, and then exhale. Slowly start corkscrewing to the left. That's it. And if you can hook your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh, great. If it's not feasible in that position, then place your hands to the outside of the quad. Neckline is long and you can lean back just a touch. Heart into your shoulder blades. That's it. Good. Balance. A couple more breaths just to play with how the breath can sit in this twist. It gets really challenging when the belly is folded like this. The wounds that are often made requires time. And there's the healing, and sometimes that wound might reopen again, but it'll be different. And the way and how you heal will also be different. Take a moment, slowly inhale, unwind, fingertips down to the floor, and this time do place your right knee to the floor if it's not already. Let's take a moment and journey back where the hips are moving toward your right back heel. Your left toes are starting to come off the floor. Great job. Let's remind ourselves not to lock through the left knee, so there's a soft bend within it. Lengthen through the torso, reach the heart toward your left big toe. Deep breath in, and then exhale, soften and bow into it. Legs stay engaged in a way that supports us through the joint areas of the body. Hips, ankles, and knees. Inhale, elongate, activate those muscles, and then exhale, you can soften into it. We can almost think of our work here today on our mat and our practice, and especially our breath and the intention to our breath in your body, like a medicine, if you will. Breathing fluidly and consciously in order to facilitate the healing that might be necessary. Give it one more dose. And then gently come back forward. Take your options, either downward facing dog or on all fours. Cycle through vinyasa or perhaps cat and cow if you chose to be on all fours. Let's waddle forward so that the legs are at the front of the mat but also wide for Malasana squat. First, inner thigh and hip stretch, so go easy as you start to bend the knees and slide on down. And we're going to do hands on top of knees and thighs to begin. Yeah, there's a lot of leg strength happening. So take a deep breath in. It's like a goddess squat. You're going to roll your right shoulder in and gently gaze over your left. A little bit of a twist there as well. Be very mindful that we're not forcing the right shoulder in and down. With the twist, it'll allow the stretch. Inhale, come through center, shoulders wide and broad, heart lifted. Exhale, turn, twist, other side. Left shoulder in. Inhale, come up through center. And then exhale, fingertips touch down to weight the hands. Spin the heels back so feet are parallel. And bow into your wide-legged fold. Take a rise, come out of it for a moment. Inhale. Great work. Exhale, bow, forward fold. Bend your knees slightly so you can take the hands away from the floor on the mat, not needed. We'll use the weight of the head and the upper body to flow the length of the spine downward. Interlace your fingers if you like and stretch your knuckles up toward the sky. If you don't like that one, you can do hands on back, sacrum, hips, hands on outside legs. I'm going to be here for a few breaths. Wiggle the baby toes, make sure they're staying earthy toward your mat and the floor. Slowly rise, coming up through the chest, placing the hands and palms underneath your shoulders. Lift up your right toes, pivot on the right heel. And start to animal walk around so that you're at the front of your mat with your hands. Left foot stays the same. Go ahead and bend the right knee firmly and then windmill up to warrior two. That's it, nice work. Turn palms openly to face the left side of your mat and tilt downward. Let's see if we can allow our forearm to become more parallel to the knee, to the heel, shin all the way down. And then raise the left arm up toward the sky. Take a deep breath in. Use the engagement of your right leg, firmly pressing against the arm gently pressing back into the leg to leverage the upper body. So notice how my right hand's actually off the floor. You can try doing that. If you're on a block, that's okay too. Just try to have just a touch of weight there. Reach the left arm forward ahead of your mat, palm face down, draw the shoulder in behind you. Another option for the left arm is to bring it in behind your back body, palm to the low spine, and really encourage that heart to twist while maintaining the knee over the right foot in alignment and pointing with the toes. A few breaths here. Slowly release by turning the chest down to the floor. You're going to spin right off the left heel and point those toes to the front. Got it. Hands and palms down to the earth. Walk your left foot in a little closer and then kick it slowly up toward the sky. You can be in an L standing balance shape. You can bring the foot a little higher with the hip more open in a split position, depending on what you need in your body. This is more hamstrings, the split one. If you're focusing on square hips, maybe that hip is down and the legs are more perpendicular. You're going to practice here letting the fingertips lightly come off the earth, maybe placing one hand to the back of the calf, maybe both hands and balancing. And just noticing where your point of balance and your energy is today.
As you exhale to release, feet side by side, about 2 fists width apart. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. And slowly come on up towards standing, pressing down through the legs, reaching up. We'll take those 3 cleansing, renewing breaths here. So that was 1 already, and we'll do 2 more from standing. Inhale. You know your intention, so you can keep the focus of it in your mind and start bringing it more consciously in your body. Exhale, hands together, heart center. So we know the word as healing. You might even scope and intend to heal what you know is necessary to be mended at this point. And just for the next moment before we balance out that other series inside in our body, what would it feel like to you in your physical body to be completely healed of all wounds? Completely healed of all wounds. Let's really stand and start to move in that conscious manner now of being healed already. Left side as you're ready. So we're going to start from a wide-legged stance and then move our way down. Feet parallel to begin, hands on hips, knees softly bent. Go ahead, forward fold. Bring your right arm to the outside of your left leg and start with your left fingertips drawing away from your head. So over your head, but still to the ground. If it's not touching the ground really easily, you can place your hand on a block or just slightly closer toward you. Right hand is on the outside of the left leg. You might start to bend your right elbow and look underneath the left bicep for your twist. Negotiate the weight in your legs, so a little bending side to side might help. We've got a fullness of balance underneath both feet, right and left heel toe. Inhale, slowly untwist, unwind. Other side. So the left arm moves to the outside of the right leg somewhere. Right arm reaches well away from you if possible. Slowly turn, twist, look underneath your right bicep. Negotiate the weight amongst the feet and find a sense of physical balance, shifting side to side. Inhale to untwist, coming back through center, hands under shoulders. Please lift up your left toes as you pivot on the heel. Using your arms to animal walk to the back of your mat now where your left foot is. Right foot stays as is. Windmill rise, warrior 2. Good, so reach nice and long end to end. Open up the energy, the lines of your body. Deep inhale. As you exhale, turn your palms open and then start to lean down toward the left leg. Shin and forearm perhaps becoming more parallel. Therefore, leveraging the leg and the arm together, working as a unit with your extremities, and then opening through the heart and twisting. Your options with your top arm, your right, are to reach forward, or maybe palm and hand to the low back. Noticing if you can get a little lighter with the left hand away from the floor. Depending on what your intention of healing, where in the body or what it is that you are wanting to heal, it requires strength. It requires your focus as well as your determination. So notice how these qualities start to spark up within your poses. As you release, turning down toward the left foot, both hands down, and you're going to spin right off that right back heel so the toes are pointing to the front. That's it. A few stutter steps forward to get that right leg in the air, and you can certainly do the L-shaped variation or come a little higher with that leg. Your choice. Left foot is grounded to the floor. Perhaps challenging your physical balance by allowing the hands, one or two, to come away from the ground, maybe even meet the back of the calf. Last breath there, and then slowly release. Let's place the right foot in beside the left. Take a moment, inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's take a vinyasa here. If you want to skip it, you'll lower into child's pose right away. Hands and palms to the floor, step, step back, down dog. And then breathe with the ripple wave of your spine as you come to high plank. Exhale, slow descent. Inhale brings you back up, raise your heart. Exhale, downward facing. Bring the right leg up toward the sky and stamp it wider than your right hand. We're going to bring the sole of the foot to the floor. Left knee comes down. Excellent. So for lizard pose, hands and palms underneath the shoulders. You can even bring the hands and palms wider. So from the aspect of the front, if you're going wider, then you're coming onto fingertips, bending through the elbows, and lowering the chest in this position. Being very mindful of what you're sensing in the knee, and just making sure that you can see the right toes in front of your right knee. So the foot takes the lead on this one. That's it. You might ignite certain areas by coming into a bit of a more dynamic or seesaw-like movement, bending through both the knees, drawing the hips back slightly, and finding other areas to bring more space into your body. Last 2 breaths, maintain your hold. And the last exhalation there, breathing all the way out and through lungs and belly. Heel toe your right leg across your body for pigeon. Across enough so that the knee and the shin can set down to the floor, squaring through the hips to the front, and then even walking that left leg back a little further. If the knees get tender, you can always take a variation where both knees are bent, back left knee, and then gently twisting and leaning downward. Always an option to lay down on your back and cross for figure 4. So we'll take a few breaths here in quiet and let the movement of your breath ride into the stillness of your body. Inhale, rise, and slowly walk your way up with your hands and palms. And to keep the right leg as such, if you were lying down on your spine, slowly make your way up to sit. Lean the weight into the right leg. We're going to use the left leg, hook and swing the heel around to the outside of the right knee and thigh. So did a full crossing over. Really good. If the left sit bone lifted, drop it down. You might even need to sweep the hips over to one side to find more of an evenness in your sits bones. Let's use our right arm to wrap around the left of the leg. Left arm posts to the back of the hip. So you're going to push the spine, the back of the left arm into the spine, lifting it up nice and tall. Good, and just breathe with a tall spine here before even twisting. Hold that for a moment.
Okay, now take your next breath in, maintaining the height, the length, and the posture of your back. You can slowly start to incorporate that rotation by turning the heart to the head and the chin to face back. If the hug of the right thigh doesn't suit your position, or if you want to find access to a deeper stretch, you can also take the right elbow, fingertips pointing up toward the sky, hook the elbow to the outer knee, and then really use both arms to facilitate a deeper rotation. Notice how your breath is behaving in your body. Has it shortened at all? We don't want to compromise the breath, but using our mind and your attention to let it be more continuous and flowing. Let's very slowly and gently release. Quite a deep twist. Counter twist the other way just to neutralize the back. I'll bring your hands toward the front. You can use your feet on this one, and if you like, as you come off your hips, place the weight onto your hands. You can try this one if you wish and jump back into chaturanga. So I'm really going to press into my hands, spring off, untwist the legs, and then land in my half push-up, if you like. Continue that flow through your vinyasa, and then you're back again in downward dog. When you're ready to move toward the left side for lizard, go ahead and stamp your left foot forward, right knee comes down. Good, yeah, take your time in your sequence there. And setting up hands underneath the shoulders, or perhaps fingertips a little wider, and then taking that bent elbow variation. Does the sensation or experience change for you if you reach your chest more forward? Does it feel different for you if you just drop the head and let the neck be a little bit more passive? And then how did it feel, or did you try on the other side when you kind of seesawed the hips forward and back, bending through the knees? When we begin to move in the way that you do as now, we create the space. And it is the space that is required to allow the healing to continue. Let's gently transition into your hip stretch, whether that was pigeon or lying down on your back for figure four. So to be left foot across if you're setting up for pigeon. Shin down, knee down, and then trailing that right back leg. Let's do a check and look back at your right foot. And whether you have the toes tucked underneath or untucked, just make sure that the toes aren't splaying wide to the outer right side. They're still in line with your left hip. I was doing that from the back end. You want this hip to be sending a nice long line all the way back toward the baby toe. Lovely. And several breaths here in silence. Tune into yourselves, see what surfaces, and remain with the intention.
focus back to here and now. Breathe in. Let out. Use your hands, mindfully walking your way back up. As you shift the weight into your left outer hip and seat, use your right foot to gently swing the heel around, hook it to the outside of your left thigh and knee. Readjust the hips so that the sits bones make contact with the floor in an even manner. And then perhaps take the left arm, wrap it around right thigh, post the right palm in behind your back body. Let's take a breath for length in our spine as we stay. All right, and then this next one you can incorporate the rotation. So inhale nice and tall, exhale twisting any amount. For those of you that were deepening your posture or enjoyed a different connection of your arm, that elbow to the outside, knee and thigh, fingertips pointing to the sky. Inhale, slowly untwist and wind. Let's counter twist the opposing side. So if you're up for that little transition and a last flow, because then the rest of our postures will remain lying down to the floor, you can try this one. So I'm using my feet to press into the ground. I'll bring my hands up front, and then as I press my feet down, I can bring more weight into my hands and palms. So my legs are crossed at this point, shoulders back, and then onto the tippy toes to help me spring back into that chaturanga position if you like. Perhaps complete your sequence with a flow. When you're ready, take your time, take water, props, or tools along with you as you come to lay down on your back. And start firstly with your knees and your thighs into your chest, rocking gently from side to side, massaging your back against the floor. Place feet to the earth and reach down for your heels. Ensure you are at a distance where you can graze the heels just with your fingertips. Widen the toes, take a deep breath in, and gently raise your hips off the mat. So here in reverse tabletop, just dipping the blood flow and the energy from the knees to the basin of the pelvis. And we can think of this as a nourishment and the way the body flows and circulates as we start to move the energy and the flow back toward the heart as a way of healing. Exhale, slowly release by letting the hips softly reach back to the floor. So I'll give you a couple more options. We are going to do 2 more. Option 1 is to return to the same position, raising the hips up. Option 2, hips up, but maybe the arms sneak underneath you and you interlace the fingers with the shoulders and the back triceps pressing to the mat. And then option 3, if you're comfortable coming into shoulder stand or plow, then you'll be rocking the hips in toward the hands and palms so that the toes or the soles of the feet are facing upward toward the sky. And your legs are starting to move more straight where the heels are over the hips. Be mindful of the neck as we don't look around for either of those variations. And take the one that you like and we'll explore a few breaths. For those of you who are in plow, you might wish to play with the feet floating back toward the head or overhead. If the toes touch, maybe extend the arms out. Keep the flow of breath. And then slowly let your hips return to the earth. If you're coming through and out from plow, lots of control there, hips down. Place the feet toward the floor. We'll open up through the heart and the chest. So I'm bringing the blood flow there. Now it gets a chance to expand and open. So walk your hands and palms underneath the buttocks, palms face down, so your thumbs are touching together, and then extend your legs towards straight. Coming into a pose called fish, so just allow the legs to be relaxed, the feet flopping to the side. And as you press into the hands and palms, leveraged against the buttocks, bend the elbows and come on to the top of the head. So if you need to watch first, then look for the demonstration before you come into it. The heart is lifted, the elbows are bent. Yeah, that's it. Feed the heart with your breath, lots of deep inhales and exhales. And then slowly and very graciously bringing the chin in close toward the chest. One out arm and then the other coming out and underneath the body. And then gently knees hug back in. As they squeeze in toward your chest, feel free to bring the forehead and lift it up and squeeze the entire body into a small little ball for a moment. You're going to lower the feet to the earth. Allow the soles of the feet to touch and the knees to go wide. Baddha Konasana position, or like a laying down butterfly pose. If you need props to support the hips, they go underneath on either side of the thighs. If you don't have props or tools, you can make 2 fists and slide them underneath your hips for just a little bit more support. If they feel too strained in this position, even with those supports, then just allow the legs long. We're going to spend a couple moments here connecting back to ourselves through our breath before we take complete rest in Shavasana. So what that means for you is the mind is still attentive and you're still making this connection so that when you rest in Shavasana, it becomes a little bit more automatic. Please place your right hand on top of the chest toward the heart and your left hand toward the belly. Fingers wide so you encourage yourself to breathe completely. Begin with the inhale and let the breath reach down toward the belly in your left hand. Keep riding the inhale up to your right palm and your lungs. And when it's time for you to exhale, let that be from the top hand on your right where the lungs let go, and then still exhaling as your belly deflates. Inhale belly, inhale lungs, exhale lungs, exhale belly, inhale belly, inhale lungs, exhale lungs, exhale belly. Keep going for 3 more at your pace, breathing the fullest of you. And certainly when you've completed your 3 cycles here of attentive breath work, you can slowly allow yourself to slip into Shavasana.
medicine. Take the next inhale as a way of healing entirely from head to toe and inside out. And feeling that conscious connection and sensation once again of just being completely healed from all wounds. Bring another layer of awareness into your body and your space with a little more movement from the legs up, from the arms up, possibly taking some gentle stretches or maneuvers to further your way back into this moment of where you are. While bending one knee at a time and gently making your way to rest on your right hand side in fetal position, give yourself a moment there to pause. If your practice was a dedication to someone or many people, you can send that dedication outwardly again. And slowly take your time, press your way up into seated. Keep a soft gaze, or at least the eyes closed, to maintain the essence of what you created inward as you stay true to this connection that you've made. And fold your hands and palms together. And let's bring our attention with the hands and thumbs up toward our third eye at the very forehead. And so that we make aware our actions, our gestures that impact those around us. Let's bring our hands just in front of the mouth and the lips. And to be mindful of everything that we say and speak as ways of healing and support. And then bring your hands back to your heart center. And as you bow to your highest within, may you stay connected to your true self, this healing journey to offer growth in the rest of your life. Namaste. Lovely work, everyone. Thanks for sharing your energy and your dedications in your practice. Really feel that. If anybody wants to share or say anything, please feel